Hey y'all, I am back with another sponsored video. This one is about Old Dirty Bastard. And this video was sponsored by Kawaii Honey. So thank you, Kawaii, for sponsoring this video. And I have to say, you dredged up some memories because I had this love for the woo. And when you sent me this request, I was just like, oh boy, here we go. So I just have to put it out there that I have seen Wu-Tang on a few occasions. I met them, but Old Dirty Bastard was the only member of the Wu-Tang Clan that I have not met. And I was actually kind of glad for that because he's so wild that I feel like, I don't know if I don't know if that would have worked out or whatever, because I'm wild myself. So I don't know. I'm just glad that he wasn't there the times that I was with Wu-Tang. So let's get into it. So Kawaii wants to know what aspects in his chart makes him stand out from other clan members. And she said that the video from the YouTube channel Celebrity Underrated about ODB made me more interested. So Celebrity Underrated is a great YouTube channel, features a lot of celebrity deaths, and even touches on some conspiracy theories and all that. So check it out if you're into that sort of thing. Now I'm just going to read a little bit about Old Dirty Bastard's life. Russell Tyrone Jones, born November 15th, 1968, died November 13th, 2004, better known by his stage name Old Dirty Bastard, often abbreviated as ODB, was an American rapper. He was one of the founding members of the Wu-Tang Clan, a rap group primarily from Staten Island, New York City, which rose to mainstream prominence with his 1993 debut album, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers. So Old Dirty Bastard went by a variety of aliases: ODB, A-Song Unique, Dirt McGirt, Joe Bananas, The Specialist, Dirt Dog, Osiris, Big Baby Jesus, Knifey McStab, and Old Dirty Chinese Restaurant. His professional success was hampered by frequent legal troubles, including incarceration. He died on November 13th, 2004, of an accidental drug overdose 2 days before his 36th birthday. Old Dirty Bastard was noted for his outrageously profane, free associative rhymes delivered in a distinctive half-rapped, half-sung style. His stage name was derived from the 1980 Chinese martial arts film Old Dirty and the Bastard. According to fellow Wu-Tang Clan member Method Man, Old Dirty Bastard's name was also a reference to the unique nature of his rapping, and specifically the fact that there ain't no father to his style. Russell Jones was born on November 15, 1968, in the Fort Greene section of Brooklyn, New York City. He and his cousins Robert Diggs and Gary Grice shared a taste for rap music and martial arts style movies. Jones, Diggs, and Grice, later known as Old Dirty Bastard, RZA, and Jizza, respectively, formed the group Force of the Imperial Master, which became known as All In Together Now after their successful underground single of the same name. They eventually added 6 more members to their group, calling it the Wu-Tang Clan. The group released their debut album, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, in 1993. That shit changed my life. Oh my God. Receiving notable commercial and critical success. Old Dirty Bastard's solo career began March 28, 1995, at the age of 26. His first solo album, Return to the 36 Chambers, the dirty version, spawned the hit singles Brooklyn Zoo, Shimmy Shimmy Ya, which helped propel the album to platinum status. The album's sound was noted by several music writers as being as raw and gritty as 36 Chambers, with RZA and Fourth Disciple producing beats of an even more minimalist and stripped down style than on the group's debut album. In the same year, Old Dirty Bastard collaborated with Mariah Carey for the remixed version of her single Fantasy. It was around this time that Old Dirty Bastard gained notoriety when, as he was being profiled for an MTV biography, he took 2 of his 3 children by limousine to a New York State welfare office to cash a $375 welfare check and receive food stamps, while his latest album was still in the top 10 of the US charts. The entire incident was filmed by an MTV camera crew and was broadcast nationwide. Although he had recently received a $45,000 cash advance for his first solo album and was earning a cut of the profits from the Wu-Tang Clan's debut album, Old Dirty Bastard was still listed as eligible for welfare and food stamps due to the fact that he had not yet filed taxes for the current year. His caseworker revoked his eligibility after seeing the MTV segment, and the incident was viewed as an example of the welfare abuses that led to the significant welfare reforms enacted in 1996. All right, so let me get into his chart. So unfortunately, I don't know what time he was born, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did have a lot of activity going on in his 12th house, but I'm not going to speculate any further about that. But as you can see, he's dealing with some heavy tension in his chart with these squares involving his Venus and also these oppositions. He has Sun, Neptune, and Mercury in Scorpio, Venus in Capricorn, Mars, Uranus, and South Node in Libra, Jupiter, Pluto, and the Moon in Virgo, Saturn in Aries, North Node in Aries, Chiron, and Pisces. And here is the Wu-Tang Clan right here with Old Dirty Bastard right by RZA right here. Again, Kawaii, you dredged up some memories, and I'm not even going to get into it, but let me just focus. All right, so his numerology. His birth number of 15, very good for music, and that explains his love for music and him being in the music industry. And 15 can make one charismatic, being loved and adored by many, magical. So he did have this magical quality about him. But also 15 can be prone to manipulation. Either they could be the manipulators or they could be manipulated. Life path number 5. So 5 is about communication, knowledge, and it deals with him being a rapper. And also a life path number of 5 can produce a life that is full of changes. He definitely went through some changes. So here's the Wu again. That's RZA front and center, my man. And here's Old Dirty right here, giving a stank face, which is so Scorpio. So his sun, 23rd degree of Scorpio. Now that 23rd degree can result in being highly favored, very knowledgeable, well-traveled, and it basically deals with him being part of the Wu-Tang Clan, with Wu-Tang representing that 3 dealing with foreign culture, and clan being 2. 2 is corresponding to Cancer, and Cancer rules clans. Now, he was very influential, and that's just indicative of Scorpio energy. He was an intense individual, heavy dominant presence. He was very perceptive. Like he could basically perceive a lot that was going on behind the scenes, especially dealing with, government. He was very much into conspiracy theories, which is very Scorpio. Dirty, nasty, funky. Not just funky in terms of the way he acts, but, just funky in terms of his style. And him being involved in a number of crises. That's so Scorpio. I would definitely say he was a dark-sided Scorpio, but not in a dark-sided way where he was evil, but just where he was dysfunctional and had some, deep-seated issues, self-destructiveness, constantly evolving, and that deals with his name changes, and abusive. So he was arrested for a domestic violence incident and death. Scorpio rules death, and his death basically was very impactful for, people that were very much into hip hop. A lot of us really felt it keenly. So here's Old Dirty right here, looking all fucked up, looking high or drunk. Method Man in the center, RZA to the right. Now he has Sun conjunct Neptune. I have this conjunction too, so I can relate to a certain extent, but my conjunction is in Sagittarius. His was in Scorpio, which is very different energy. So this is basically where he lives and breathes music. I mean, he was singing all the time. Prefers to be high than sober. Now with Scorpio, this is about getting seriously faded, blackout drunk, blackout high, addiction, imprisonment, the videos and concerts, being missing in action a lot of times, escaping, like the time he escaped from this drug rehab facility that he was sentenced to. Sensitive, compassionate, being a savior, a martyr, hero. So this quote right here is very much dealing with Sun conjunct Neptune. Leading up to his death, Old Dirty Bastard's legal troubles and eccentric behavior made him something of a folk hero, according to the New Yorker writer Michael Ager. And he was an icon, a hip-hop icon. Also with Sun conjunct Neptune, music writer Steve Huey wrote, "It was difficult for observers to tell whether Old Dirty Bastard's wildly erratic behavior was the result of serious drug problems or genuine mental instability." And Sun conjunct Neptune in Scorpio in particular can make one lewd and lascivious. And serial masturbator is a big theme of this conjunction. So this video right here that I'm about to play is basically touching on that. I just have to stop it right here. This is the epitome of some dark-sided Scorpio shit. Stool cam, he's on the toilet wiping his ass. I mean, you can't make this shit up, but this is so dark-sided Scorpio shit. And then he's going to get into the story about when he's in prison with the serial masturbation.
Every day, like, man, probably 3 times a day, I jerked my dick off so much that the prisoners was actually saying, "Yo, Dirty, chill the fuck out." You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't help it. Every bitch I saw on TV, her ass looked funny to me. And I just kept jerking my dick off every day, every day, every night.
Tell us about Hawaii. Hawaii, fuck it, you just love is the real bomb. It's the macadamia nut. In Hawaii, the lava alone make my dick hard. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even see no lava, but I know that they got lava bitches here. Reason why
Let me just stop right here. But Scorpio also deals with unearned income, benefits that you receive. So the fact that he's saying, who wouldn't want free money? That's so Scorpio as well.
I came up with the welfare ID. I just want to show people, how to be real with it. I'm on welfare right now, for real.
Okay, I have to cut this off because Hippa to the Hoppa is playing in the background and YouTube is probably going to give me a copyright strike. I don't know if they're going to give me a copyright strike for the previous song that was playing in the background, but you know how YouTube is. So, but basically this was showing where he was, I'm going to put it on mute. Basically, this is showing where he was cashing in his welfare check and getting food stamps. And he's basically saying, who wouldn't want free money? And here's the woo again. Old dirty bastard to the left. RZA up here. Okay. So Sun and Neptune trine Chiron in Pisces. So this is him being a hip hop icon. Again, explains why he was one of the clan members that stood out, because this trine is what made him exceptional. He was an exceptional rapper. The music videos and concerts, the song Brooklyn Zoo with Pisces ruling zoos and Neptune ruling zoos, ability to freely express himself through music, ability to perform while high using drugs and alcohol to enhance his artistic expression. You can call this drunken monk style. And it actually worked. I mean, unfortunately, you know, he succumbed to an end dealing with, you know, an overdose, but it worked. It really did. Exceptional in terms of his artistic expression, like I said. So Old Dirty Bastard was noted for his outrageously profane, free associative rhymes delivered in a distinctive half rap, half sung style. Very much dealing with that. Here's the woo again. Old Dirty Bastard looks like he's in deep thought right here. Look like he's saying, hold up, some shit ain't right. He just didn't look like he was in a good frame of mind. They all look good right here. All right. Sun and Neptune sextile Pluto, becoming very influential in the music scene. Artistic collaborations such as with Mariah Carey, Busta Rhymes, Pras, and Maya. Receiving royalties. Being controversial results in being cherished. A deep spiritual dude. Being immortalized. Children receive an insurance payout or inheritance, perhaps. I believe that's what occurred, but Old Dirty Bastard's wife ended up suing Wu-Tang Incorporated for royalties. Here he is with Mariah Carey. So his son is in quincunx with Saturn, issues with handling his responsibilities, not showing up for work or showing up late, lone wolf tendencies with that Saturn being in Aries, sometimes trump his need to maintain bonds and to successfully collaborate, problems with the government, his stank face, changing his name. So again, some of his names, aliases were Ace Sung Unique, Old Dirty Bastard, Osiris, Big Baby Jesus. And I got a story dealing with that name Osiris, dealing with the Wu-Tang, but I'll keep it to myself. An overtaxed heart operating at limited capacity, perhaps. Also, this quincunx is responsible for his manic episodes. According to the Atlantic contributing editor and music biographer, James Parker, Old Dirty Bastard had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder around 2003. Now, you know, bipolar is about, basically it's manic depression, which is what they used to call it. So this aspect is contributing to his manic episodes. He has Venus in Capricorn, which is dealing with the depression side. There's that stank face. Scorpio, they just like giving that stank face. And he was doing it all the time. I think he couldn't even help it. Here he is with a bottle in his hand, getting juiced. So his son is in sesqui square with the North Node. Challenges with being his own individual due to being part of a group. The name changes again. Could manifest as self-loathing. Manic episodes. So this is another aspect that contributed to his manic episodes with that North Node being in Aries. Self-destructive tendencies. Being investigated. Lack of independence and self-determination due to codependent tendencies. Sun semi-square South Node. Remember that South Node's in Libra. Repeated infidelity. Criminality leads to court cases. Having a strained relationship with children. Now, there's this video where his son is recounting this story shortly before Old Dirty Bastard died, where he was saying, yeah, my father forced me to watch him get high. And he did that to show him, like, this is what you're not supposed to do. And I'm like, wow, that's a twisted way of trying to teach your child. Not receiving his fair share of royalties, breaches of contracts, missed appearances with Wu-Tang, child support / custody court cases. In 1997, he was arrested for failure to pay child support for 3 of his children, lacking social graces, showing out during interviews and award shows, such as the MTV interview and the Grammys. His son was running parallel to Lilith. This is him being very rebellious, thumbing his nose at the government with Lilith being in Capricorn. Sun conjunct Terpsichore. Terpsichore is the asteroid that deals with body language, body movements. So he always did move around a lot. He was very animated. He was always dancing. Sun contra parallel to Tisiphone. Tisiphone is an asteroid that could deal with being judged harshly, facing harsh punishment. And this deals with his drug charges in particular, with it being at the 7th degree of Leo. That's like possession with the intent to sell. And he was caught with a lot of, it was either a lot of cocaine or crack, one of them. His sun conjunct Toro. Toro is an asteroid that deals with displays of machismo, can result in being pig-headed, chauvinistic, and where one gets into fights. Sun conjunct Agena. Agena is a fixed star that promotes good health. Now, in the song Diesel, one of his lines was, no more doctors delivering my baby, sticking pins, killing me slowly. So he was against vaccination. And I support that view. I'm the same way. But that basically points to that. With this conjunction being in Scorpio, Scorpio rules vaccinations, injections. Also disillusion through love, but success with the masses, which he definitely had. So his moon could be at the 16th degree of Virgo. And that 16th degree would explain his love for music and his involvement in the music industry. It would also explain his drug habit and alcoholism. And with the moon in Virgo, that's like him self-medicating to alleviate his anxiety. That 16th degree will also explain tragedy and sacrifice. And again, that moon in Virgo alone produces insecurities, issues with home. Virgo moons can experience a period of homelessness, even being in jail. That would be that 16th degree if the moon is at the 16th degree. Now, his moon is squaring his black moon Lilith being in Gemini. This is him having no filter, lacking prudence, indecent behavior, immodesty. And there was this story of Old Dirty Bastard getting head from this chick out in the open while he was at a bar. So yeah, he was a wild dude. Moon quincunx Saturn. Getting wounded in the abdomen. So Virgo rules the abdomen. In 1994, he was shot in the abdomen following an argument with another rapper. Poor work habits due to a hardened ego, or basically with that Saturn and Aries, it's like he just wants to do whatever he wants. Disrespecting women, lack of loyalty towards his woman / wife. Moon parallel Tabit, strong, dignified self-confidence, but also inconstancy, arrogance, violence, and impiety, but prosperity in trade and by voyages or abroad. But it also brings the danger of treachery and poison. His Mercury at the 10th degree of Scorpio, that 10 produces cycles of ups and downs. And that was basically how his life was. 10th degree of Scorpio in particular makes me think of his song from his first album called Going Down. That's one of my favorite songs on that album. And he's going back to his childhood in the beginning of the song. He's like, remember when we used to you just got to hear it. And it was just so weird how he tapped into a lot of people's childhood with that intro, because I remember doing that with my sister. It was like where you had to see who could do this the longest, where you was like, but I don't want to get all into it, but check that song out and you'll see what I mean. And then he just goes crazy, like at the end of the intro, and then it goes into the song. But yeah, and one of the things I love was how RZA would lay down the tracks and just allow Dirty to just go off and do whatever he wanted. And that's so like the old Dirty Bastard. There's no father to his style. He was just very, it was very improvisational, you could say. So Mercury in Scorpio produces deep and profound thoughts and speech, but it can also make one prone to be mischievous, prone to be controversial, which he definitely was, prone to be compulsive, and also obsessive. Mercury parallels Zarak. That's a star that manifests as melancholy. It can produce a fear of death and suicidal tendencies. Mercury conjunct Acrux. That's a star that can produce an interest in astrology and spirituality. He was a very spiritual dude. He was into metaphysics and sacrifice. He had the sadness behind his eyes. And that's very much that Venus square Chiron and Pisces he has. Mercury semi-square Pluto represents the child that got hit by the car. Now, Mercury at the 10th degree of Scorpio, that 10th degree does pertain to children. So in February 1998, Old Dirty Bastard witnessed a car accident from the window of his Brooklyn recording studio. He and a friend ran to the accident scene and organized about a dozen onlookers who assisted in lifting the 1996 Ford Mustang, rescuing a 4-year-old girl from the wreckage. Mercury semi-square Pluto also deals with the food stamp card that garnered attention from the FBI. So his album cover for his first album, he put his welfare benefits card on there. And that was like some brazen display of bucking the system, basically. Constantly being harassed by cops, with Pluto being in Virgo. So this is what I'm talking about. Now, of course, they altered it to say the city of the Brooklyn Zoo, but this was his actual public assistance card. Identification card for food coupons and or public assistance. So yeah, like I said, this was a brazen display of basically giving the government the middle finger. And the government doesn't take too kindly to people who, do things like this. This gift is from the Grammys, where he bum rushed the stage and was like, Puffy is good, but Wu-Tang is the best, and Wu-Tang is for the children. Made everybody uncomfortable. But I was feeling him with that. Because I wanted Wu-Tang to win that Grammy too, and I was upset that they didn't, because they definitely deserved it. But you know how it goes with favoritism in the industry. Now, his Venus was at the Aries point of Capricorn, and this is very significant because that Aries point can produce circumstances that are brought about by external forces, external factors that shape your destiny or shape your fate, you could say. Some of it could be good, some of it can be bad. And if it's bad, it could be very bad. Now, Venus in Capricorn alone can manifest as a long-term relationship. It also represents the record company execs, government intervention, especially with that Aries point. That is a dead ringer for conspiracy theorists, I'll say, because people are speculating that his death wasn't an accident. And I'm leaning towards that viewpoint. Now, respect was a major theme with that Venus at the Aries point of Capricorn. Recognition was another. And again, he bum rushed the stage of the Grammy Awards, and he was talking about Wu-Tang not getting enough recognition and respect. And he was right. Now, he went about it the wrong way, but he was still right about that. Now, no shows due to being a loner, antisocial tendencies, big time nostalgia nut, singing old school music. He basically was a crooner. Adorning his teeth, but also the dental problems he had, especially when you take the squares involving Venus and Capricorn into account. So, as you can see, his teeth are jacked up, but he also has the gold front. That's Venus at the Aries point of Capricorn all day. Here he is with the fangs. I actually love when they would wear the fangs like that. So his Venus was squaring Mars, Uranus, and the South Node. Like he had some heavy squares involving his Venus, which basically is explaining a lot of what was going down with the government, the cops, and his relationships, and him basically not, showing up to shows and doing what he needed to do. So interpersonal conflicts with women, abusive towards women. In 1998, he pleaded guilty to attempted assault on his wife, conflicts over money, breach of contract, not maintaining commitments, losing teeth, lopsided mouth, not a team player due to solitary nature, uncooperative, explains why he felt some type of way when Wu-Tang didn't win the Grammy, disrespectful, disrupted. As Old Dirty Bastard took the stage to a round of applause, he asked the audience, please calm down, the music and everything. It's nice that I went and bought me an outfit today that costed a lot of money today. You know what I mean? Because I figured that Wu-Tang was going to win. Here he is with his wife. And she's featured on that Going Down song. And I think she's featured on another song on his first album too. But she's cussing him out in the Going Down song. And he's singing, somewhere over the rainbow, while she's cussing him out. So basically it's showing he's tuning her out. Way up high. Yeah, he was always singing. So Venus squaring Jupiter and Pluto, excessive appetite, outlandish, poor judgment, poor hygiene, carelessness, philanderer, squandering money, run-ins with the police with Jupiter and Pluto being in Virgo. Says he was issued bench warrants by the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Department to stand trial after he failed to appear in court numerous times. Government, FBI, in particular, harassment. So in the song Diesel, he's saying, I need help. I need help. The government is after me. I need help. Someone help me, please. Someone help me. They already did Tupac in Biggie Smalls. And I believe what he's saying, especially with these aspects of his chart, the government was definitely after him. And again, that Venus at the Aries point of Capricorn says it all. Capricorn rules the government. Here he is acting crazy. Again, Venus square Jupiter and Pluto. So, Old Dirty Bastard. Again, no father to his style. With Venus in Capricorn, that Capricorn is father. Venus is style. And Jupiter and Pluto in particular, that's taking away the father. So that's basically showing no father to his style. The infidelity, also avoidance. Electra terminated his contract at one point. The criminal cases, welfare fraud. So again, it says it was around this time that Old Dirty Bastard gained notoriety when, as he was being profiled for an MTV biography, he took 2 of his 3 children by limousine to a New York State welfare office to cash a $375 welfare check and receive food stamps while his latest album was still in the top 10 of the US charts. Y'all know the rest because I already read this. But this basically contributed to the welfare reforms enacted in 1996 per Bill Clinton. So it's just showing that the government was very aware of who he was. Wu-Tang, period, was on the FBI list. And again, him saying the government is after me. So this could be seen as foul play in terms of his death. But that's speculation on my part. I'm not saying it definitely happened. Also, with Venus squaring Jupiter and Pluto, in 1993, Old Dirty Bastard was convicted of second-degree assault for an attempted robbery. In 1997, he was arrested for failure to pay child support for 3 of his children. In 1998, he pleaded guilty to attempted assault on his wife and was the victim of a home invasion robbery at his girlfriend's house. He was arrested for criminal threatening after a series of confrontations in Los Angeles a few weeks later, and was then rearrested for similar charges not long after that. Some of this is also dealing with his Venus squaring Mars in Libra as well, and Uranus. I mean, where's that chart again? All of these squares right here is basically pointing to all his legal problems, his run-ins with the police, just him not being able to have peaceful relationships, the breaching of contracts, not honoring commitments. I mean, it was not easy for him to go the straight and narrow at all. I like this picture of him. Here's another quote dealing with these aspects. On January 14, 1999, shortly before the killing of Amadou Diallo, 2 officers from the Street Crimes Unit fired 8 shots at Old Dirty Bastard and accused him of firing at them after they stopped his car in Bedford-Stuyvesant. Old Dirty Bastard was cleared by a grand jury and insisted that the officers had been scared by his cellular phone. No weapons or shell casings besides those of the officers were found in the vehicle or near the scene. That Mercury semi-square Pluto is also dealing with the cell phone, which the cops claim that they thought it was a gun or whatever. But to me, this means that they were trying to take him out. In 2012, his FBI file was released to the public after a Freedom of Information Act request. It contains details of numerous crimes, such as alleged connections to 3 murders, a shootout with New York City Police Department, and a racketeer influence and corrupt organizations act investigation against the Wu-Tang Clan. That Sun Quincunx Saturn in his chart is also pointing to that shootout with the cops as well. But it just shows, again, the government being on his ass all the time. Here he is, all drunk, high. When I see this, it makes me think of that doom 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 right before Brooklyn Zoo. Venus square Chiron, being paranoid about the government and for a good reason. Not a team player. Addiction creates money problems with that Chiron being in Pisces. With Chiron is about bucking the system. So this is him bucking the welfare system. And in that Diesel song, he says, to the punks who say I'm a welfare fraud, you're motherfucking right. I'll spurn this doghouse white. Insecure about my ding dong, married to Babylon. The queen's looking at me like I'm wrong. He said, insecure about my ding dong, that insecurity, that Virgo shit. Getting too drunk or high to work / honor his commitments. Must have been hungry as hell when in jail. With that Venus in Capricorn, that can deal with being deprived of food, but it can also deal with fasting. So he might have got into fasting as a result. He did put on weight, so maybe he started fasting to lose weight. Now, Dirty was arrested for shoplifting a pair of $50 shoes from a sneaker stadium store in Virginia Beach, Virginia, although he was carrying close to $500 in cash at the time. That's very Venus square Chiron in Pisces. Venus square Aries North Node. Fights with girlfriend, wife. Not a team player again. going up against the government and in a very bold and brazen way, like I was saying before, lacking work ethic, conflicts with working with others, destruction of property, burning through money, disrespectful. Like this situation, Old Dirty Bastard rushed on stage unexpectedly as Sean Colvin took the stage to give her acceptance speech for Song of the Year at the 1998 Grammy Awards, and he announced he had recently purchased expensive clothes in anticipation of winning the Grammy Award for Best Rap Album that he lost to Puff Daddy. Wu-Tang should have really won. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Off on a natural charge, bon voyage. Bon voyage, that's that Sun conjunct Neptune. Venus conjoined to the fixed star Spiculum. This can produce eye trouble, blindness. Now, he would wear these glasses where one of the lens was out. So, depression, hopelessly doomed, having a morbid religious outlook, no concern for human life. Now, that could deal with this MTV interview when this woman called in and she was like, yeah, I just want to know what, you plan on doing for the community. And he was like, nothing. Just very nonchalant. But he did have concern for human life. He actually did, which is evidenced by him saving that little girl that got trapped under the car. Venus parallel cause Borealis. Now, this is a fixed star that pertains to promoters of idealistic and humane ideas, promoters of mental stimuli, which his rap was very mentally stimulating, for me at least, and for a lot of other people. Enterprise. One of my favorite songs off of his first album is Snakes. I also love Dirty Dancing. Rawhide is one of my favorite. Rawhide is really like down and dirty. And Method Man is featured on that song. He's like, wicked women putting period blood in stew. Don't that make the stew witches brew? I fear for the 85 who don't got a clue. How could he know what the fuck he never knew? God save under the vine. Come to show and come to prove. A mystery God is the work of Yakub. Yeah. But Old Dirty Bastard has talked about getting gonorrhea. He was like, got burnt once, but it was only gonorrhea. That was in Shame on a Nigga. From the first Wu-Tang album. And he talks about you bound to catch AIDS or something. Not saying I got it, but nigga, if I got it, you got it. Like he would say just crazy shit like that. But back to this. So cause Borealis deals with enterprise and a sense of justice. Here he is right here. Looking like he's doing some kung fu move or whatever. So his Mars was at the 3rd degree of Libra. That 3rd degree deals with justice. It's basically justice reinforced, with Libra being about justice, but so is that 3rd degree. Freedom, truth, travel, excess, but also spirituality. And he did speak the truth. Legal problems, conflicts with partner, spouse. So Mars and Libra period just can deal with legal problems, conflicts with relationships, conflicts with partnerships, contractual agreements. Also, Mars and Libra is basically people that embody the arts, and especially music in Old Dirty Bastard's case. Now, with Mars and Libra, Mars is in detriment in Libra. Now, this is basically about if he can't lead or be out in front, he doesn't want to cooperate. His Mars conjoined to Uranus. Being a founding member of Wu-Tang Clan, being very willful and rebellious, weird, strange, unique, deals with his name, Asan Unique, his different aliases, his wild hair, wild unruly hair, unpredictable, unhinged, lacking individualism to a certain extent, that is, because he did have this strong individualist, but he also was very much people relationship oriented at the same time. So he was dealing with that internal conflict. Being a trendsetter. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like the government wanted to shut his ass down. Attracting a lot of fans and followers. Magnetic persona. Mars conjunct Jupiter. This is him being over the top, ostentatious, wild and wanton, goes too far at times, being a scofflaw, matters of justice, being wild. I already said that, so need to just reiterate the wildness. Philosophical and spiritual, though. This is Old Dirty Bastard's son. Old Dirty Bastard had like 7 children, I think, but that's his son. He definitely couldn't deny this boy because he looks just like his father. So his Mars, Uranus, Jupiter, and Pluto opposition Chiron. Mars opposition Chiron in particular points to how he got his name. So his stage name was derived from the 1980 Chinese martial arts film Old Dirty and the Bastard. Also, it points to his time in prison. He spent several days in a Philadelphia jail, was later extradited to New York City. A Manhattan court sentenced him to 2 to 4 years incarceration. He was released on parole on May 1st, 2003, being on the lam. In October 2000, he escaped from his court-mandated drug treatment facility and spent 1 month as a fugitive. Here he is in Mariah Carey's Fantasy Remix video. And he barely made it to record that, his verses for that. Again, these oppositions deal with him being missing in action a lot of times, not showing up for shows, videos, and photo shoots. Drugs and alcohol take a major toll upon mental health. Takes drugs and drinks to reduce high anxiety and nervous energy. His drunken monk style. And this is the aspect that led to the overdose. So overdose due to developing a high tolerance with Jupiter in the mix, being sentenced to a rehab facility that he later escaped. Operating in secret. So remember, he saved the little girl, him and some others. He enlisted the help of others to lift the car up off of the girl. And he would visit the hospital in disguise to see how the little girl was doing. So it says, she, the girl who was hit by the car, was taken to a hospital with 1st and 2nd degree burns. Using a false name, Old Dirty Bastard visited the girl in the hospital frequently until he was spotted by members of the media. Also, this is about him being trapped in the dark corridor of addiction. And RZA is quoted as saying, "Trust me, the man who became ODB, A-Son Unique, my cousin, he was a scientist and a minor prophet. People may not know this from the outrageous character he played, but ODB was a visionary. But he decayed. He lost that vision. From the time they put him in jail to all the drugs he was doing to all the stress he went through with his family, it took away his ability to see. And this night he sat there and looked me in the eye and said, 'RZA, I don't understand.' Now I know that right there, right when he said that, we lost him. 8 hours later, ODB was gone." RZA. So I believe he did die of an overdose, but I'm questioning, how that overdose came to be. So, and I'm not even, trying to insinuate that any members of the Wu, used him as a sacrifice. I don't believe that was that at all. But I suspect there being foul play at the hands of the government because they were after him anyway. And a lot of times when celebrities die of overdoses, you gotta question the official narrative, the quote unquote official narrative, the official story, because that's one of the easiest ways to cover up a murder. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Now, if you want some Old Dirty Bastard themed merchandise, it's all over the internet. And that just is a testament of how he was a hip hop icon. So that Mars conjoined to his South Node, the underlying reason for most of his problems, strong identification with the arts, music in particular, being a founding member of a band / group, Wu-Tang, relationship, but also conflict oriented. So he was relationship oriented, but also conflict oriented. Like I said, he was like very much relationship oriented, but he also had this strong individualistic side to him as well. So he was constantly dealing with that conflict. Being targeted. So again, this reinforces my belief that his death was not an accidental overdose. The opposition. So he played the role of the opposition. You know, Libra is the opposition. So with his Mars conjoined to that Libra South node, he often played the role of the opposition, especially in terms of the government. And remember, his Venus in Capricorn is squaring Mars and that South node. The court cases, conflicts in marriage, relationships. So this is what I'm talking about, where this woman asked him, what do you give back to the community? And he was like, nothing. But I think he did that because he didn't like her tone and the way she was coming across. Mars parallel Pandora. So this is Old Dirty giving interviews where he relays damning information against the government. Also some of his songs. So he said on a couple of occasions that the government took out Tupac and Biggie. And again, if you're a public figure, you got to watch what you say because the government is always listening. So I'm saying they had a motive to take him out. Mars conjunct Zanaya. This produces order, congeniality, and a lovable nature, which he definitely had. Refinement, honor, money, love, but also adultery and prostitution. Makes me think of that story where he was getting head in the bar, out in the open by a prostitute. His Jupiter at the 29th degree of Virgo, and that 29th can produce interference from third parties, and it could be the government, but also the cops in particular with the Virgo energy. 29th degree produces high pressure situations, including the pressure he felt on his abdomen. Virgo rules the abdomen when he got shot, but also high pressure situations involving the police. Conflicts involving home, women, and the clan. Conflicts with the cops. Conflicts involving health. Jupiter contra parallel Vesta. And this is him getting head from the prostitute out in the open, especially with Jupiter being conjoined to Pluto. So here he is at the Grammy Awards when he took over the mic. Jupiter conjunct Uranus and Pluto, being forced to travel for work. And I'm pretty sure a lot of times he wasn't fit to do it. Police investigations, problems with hygiene, perhaps, lacking manners and etiquette, especially when Mars and Uranus are brought into the mix. A tracking, monitoring device. So with Jupiter conjunct Uranus representing the device being on his ankle, and he was on house arrest. So this quote right here points to this: living at his mother's home under house arrest and with a court-ordered probation. And Saturn was running parallel to Procyon. Procyon produces fame, good fortune, a sharp mind, willpower, but also stubbornness, violence, sudden success, followed by disaster, which is exactly what he dealt with. Occult, politics, dissipation, love of dogs. On Wu-Tang Forever, there's this song that he leads called Dog Shit. And he was also called Dirt Dog McGraw. And Procyon can also manifest as dog bites. I don't know if he ever got bitten by a dog before. Wouldn't be surprised if he did, because he seemed like the type that would provoke a dog. Saturn parallel Catalpha, that's a fixed star that gives friendship and sagacity, but also frivolity and love of pleasure, fame, and horsemanship. When I see the horsemanship, it makes me just think about him horsing around. But that's a stretch. But yeah, that concludes my reading on Old Dirty Bastard. Let me know what you think in the comments section. We lost one of the hip hop greats when he passed away, and I was deeply saddened by it. But his name lives on, and he has been immortalized, and his contribution to hip hop is very profound, if you ask me, and very impactful. So some people might not understand where he was coming from and stuff, but you just had to be there. I'll just say that. But thank you again, Kawaii Honey, for sponsoring this video. And I'll be posting some more sponsored videos very soon. So those who have sponsored a video, thanks for being patient. I'll be getting them out to you very soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you would like a reading, you could go to my website. The link is in the description section. And I'm out. See ya.